If you have a rookie pick in Dynasty, we've got you. This is what you should do with every single rookie pick in Dynasty Fantasy Football. And I'm going to start by giving you the most important advice that you will get during this season in Dynasty. Because for literally 2 months, all of Dynasty Fantasy Football revolves around rookie drafts and rookies and rookie picks. And we're in that 2-month period. We're living in it right now. It's around us. The rookie picks are in the room with us. And so when you're thinking about the significance of that,
like the Force.
And you're thinking about how this is, it really is, this is a lot of people's favorite time of the year to play Dynasty. In fact, most Dynasty players, this is their favorite month of the year or 2 months of the year. And so with that in mind, the most important piece of advice I can give you in regards to rookie picks right now and what you should do with them, every single rookie pick you have owned or ever own or will own for this current year, specifically for 2025, every rookie pick that you own should be on the block. There should never, in any circumstance, be a rookie pick that you are not open to trading. Why? Because the built-in leverage that comes with rookie picks, because they are so important, because they are literally the center of attention in everybody's world for 2 months straight. The built-in leverage you get from that is not quantifiable. Okay, sometimes it's hard to sell a veteran. Sometimes it's hard to sell even a young player. So that person might not believe in a young player. Sometimes it's hard to sell a quarterback XYZ because quarterbacks are losing value, or it's not a super flex league or whatever. But everybody loves rookie picks for a 2-month period. And so because of the, so-called rookie fever, which by the way, rookie fever is just loving Dynasty Fantasy Football. I love it. You love it. Let's not beat around the bush and say that this isn't the most awesome time of year. But one of the reasons that for, those of us who like making trades, and especially those of us who like taking advantage of people, one of the reasons it is the most awesome time of year is because we really can take people's lunch money with trades right now. And the way to do that is to put every single pick on the block. So shop all of your rookie picks in every single league, literally every single one. Thirds, fourths, first, the 101, you have the 101, shop it. 102, shop it. You're a contender, shop your picks. It doesn't matter. See what you can get, but know the worth of your picks. Really, you can't have one without the other here. Shop all of your picks, but know what they're worth, because you don't want to take an underpay for a pick, especially when you have leverage. And right now, like I mentioned, you have a ton of leverage. And so knowing the worth of your picks means knowing where their startup value is, knowing where the teardrops are. And, we've got you covered on some of that. But you can also, when you're doing picks with or trades with rookie picks, community polls over on the Discord, great idea. It's our favorite way to ask trade questions. You could ask Nathan or I directly in our DMs. There are tons of ways to see whether or not you're making a good deal. But shop all your rookie picks, know your worth. And the number, we're going to talk about this, but
I think that's a good overarching rule just in general with all of those picks is you should be shopping them or open to offers
always,
just in general, always, because we'll put in rookie draft blueprints, like we have verdicts for all of those, like top 4 picks that you own. And we'll say down to your whole, get a proven asset if you're a contender and whatnot. Just because we recommend that you hold a certain pick like the 106 doesn't mean that you can't move it for the right price. And we'll add that in the comments of our blueprint sometimes for you guys, is saying like, hey, just because we think you should hold this doesn't mean you can't entertain offers for the right price and get a better difference maker for your team heading into 2025. So just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind the number 1 rule in Dynasty rookie drafts, because once you kind of exhaust all options for your rookie picks and you've sold the ones that you've gotten a really good deal for, or you're waiting until closer to the draft, or you just haven't gotten enough value return in the market, in your league economy to get rid of those picks, so you're holding them, you're sticking with them. What do you really do with those rookie picks once you get to your rookie draft? We're going to help you strategize right now. Number 1 rule is to take the best value. Okay, it's as simple as that. You have to take the best value. Do not let a value faller make it past you. If there is a value faller, I don't care if you hate the prospect. I don't care if you don't need the position per se. If there is a faller that has made it well past his market consensus tier in your rookie draft, specifically in the first round, you cannot let him get past you. You've got to take them at price. So it's very, very easy for us to say that, especially before the NFL draft, is like someone asks us, hey, who should I take at the 105? Oh, well, you take the best value. Hey, who should I take at the 110? Well, you take the best value. If there's a follower, you select them. We can't tell you what specific player is going to go there, but we can tell you take the best value. We can go further than that. We really can, and I don't want this video to be a cop-out. So once we get past the value fallers, once we say, okay, you're sitting at the 105 and there's no value faller, you're within a tier. What do we do when there are no obvious value followers? What do we do depending on whether you're a reload, a rebuild, or a contending team heading into 2025? How do you choose between players in the same tier? I think there's a really good strategy to have for all these different ranges of picks, and we're going to start with the 101. The 101 universally is Ashton Jeanty. No one's going to question that. It's not even a question. It won't be. It hasn't been a question before the draft. It won't be a question after. It just won't.
Question.
What?
Will Ashton Jeanty be?
That's a really good question. Jeanty's going to be going at the 101 consensus. Yeah. It's universal. So if you are a rebuild and you own the 101 and you can't move the 101, you have to take Jeanty at the 101. If you're a contender, same thing. This is why we recommend that for rebuild specifically that you down tier from something like the one or from a pick like the 101. So think about it this way. We do so many team blueprints all the time, and one of the biggest questions we have from teams that are rebuilding that often have the 101 is, hey, I'm ready to take Jeanty, which I'm like, okay, that's a great plan. You know you know who you need to be taking if you stick with that pick. The reason that we recommend for so many of those rebuilds to down tier from the 101 is because it is at its peak value in the middle, sometimes early second round. Ashton Jeanty is already consensus running back 3 in Dynasty Fantasy Football. He will be pretty close to where Gibbs and Bijan are going right out the gate. And talent aside, production profile aside, all that stuff, what value advantage are you getting taking someone, selecting a player at what is already determined to be their value ceiling? How much higher at this point in Superflex formats in Dynasty Fantasy Football can your top running backs really be selected in startups year in and year out? We've learned it the hard way over the past 5 years because of how volatile the running back position is and how much it bit so many people in the butt when they were selecting Najee, Swift, and Javonte Williams at the 1-2 turn after they did so well their rookie year. If Jeanty has a top 4 running back year his rookie season, his value goes up no more than a half round to the 1-2 turn. So there's not much value upside there. That's why we recommend that, like at the 101 specifically, rebuilds are going to down tier. If you're a heavy contending team, by all means, feel free, go ahead and go select a guy like Jeanty there. But even if you're a contending team that is in need of a little bit of depth or a little bit worried there, It's not necessarily a terrible idea to just see if you can down tier to the 102 plus a premium, because the 102 has a pretty good guy that we're going to talk about there as well, who's, I think at this point, universally considered to be the consensus 102 selection.
Pretty much the same. Everybody thinks, here's the thing, if Hampton does get first round draft capital, just based on the hit rates for, running backs there alone, he should be the 102. And I think this is likely at this point. I do think he's going to sneak into the first round. And naturally, since it's going to be the back half of the first round, I think he's going to get a landing spot that we're going to be happy with. I think it's going to prop him up boards quite a bit. But like Nathan said, the other thing you have to consider here, and a perfect example is this. If you're a rebuild and you have the 102, we just were shopping the 102 on a rebuild on the team we co-managed in the Platinum League, where we screwed up and drafted Anthony Richardson because we're stupid and we're bad at this. But we were shopping the 102, and we're a rebuild, and so we're looking to down tier from the 102. But there's really, when you're thinking about it, like Nathan said, this is a known asset. Okay, you're drafting a running back. One of the best examples of this is, you're a rebuild 2 years ago, and you draft Bijan or you draft Gibbs. And they're both going, Gibbs was going like 3rd, 4th round. He ended up being a really good value. But let's just say, for example, you drafted Bijan. Bijan, it was a great pick. Bijan has had value insulation. Bijan has never lost value. But you're a rebuild, and you drafted the 101 here, and Bijan is now valued right here. How much value have you gained from here to here? None. And so on a rebuild, you're literally defeating the purpose of having these these expensive assets if you're not repurposing them into assets that can grow in value. We talk a lot about this, so I won't harp on it. But Hampton's kind of the same thing. What we were trying to do? We were trying to down tier to like the 103, even just move back a spot. Because when you're thinking about it, you're putting your high-end investment, your 102 is a very valuable asset. You're putting that high-end investment in a running back. And of all positions you want to invest in on a rebuild, running backs probably last. And so, the caveat with both of these picks is this. It's not poison for your team. They're not going to lose value before the season. So if you have to just stick and pick the running backs, do it. Do not, I repeat, do not take an underpay for these high-end firsts. No. Ever. For the 101, the 102, the 103, any of them. Do not take it unless you are getting something that benefits your team, gives you a ton of value upside, or is an overpay. Yeah. If you're not getting that, you make the pick. You're going to have the entire rest of the offseason to trade these guys on a rebuild if you need to. So, Hampton's kind of the same thing. Rebuilds are going to down tier, look to down tier from the 102. Contending teams, Nathan nailed it. If you don't have the depth to in your flex spots to be a true contender, but you have the 102, Hampton's doing hardly anything for you if you're starting Xavier Legette in your last flex spot. Hardly anything, okay? Or you're starting a tight end. So if you're a contender, you may look to down tier as well. But for every team, it's different. I mean, you're literally going from team build to team build and looking what you should do with these picks. And it's like this every year, but we're like Nathan said, we're giving this out on our rookie draft blueprint. We're telling you, hey, with this pick, you should down tier. You should hold this pick. You should trade this pick for a proven asset if you're a contender. But it's why on our rookie draft blueprint, we included the team archetype, the 3-year outlook, because it literally means everything to who you're selecting or what you're doing with your rookie picks. So we'd love to give you a second opinion. We are doing this nonstop right now. We're giving people second opinions on their teams with our team blueprint and with our brand new rookie draft blueprint. The reason we introduced the rookie draft blueprint was for this reason right here. So you can get one of those included with the team blueprint, and you can get the team blueprint actually for free with all the site tools, with our Discord community, with infinite blueprint, an update on your team review every month so your team advice never stops. You get that for free at flockfantasy.com/domain. Use code domain, the annual Motherflocker to unlock that. I've got the link pinned in the comments for you. But you also get our entire rookie draft toolkit as well, everything you need to dominate. We're trying to give you the best value you can, but also, I think there is value in having a second opinion on your dynasty team, a second opinion on your rookie picks. Nathan and I do all of these personally, and so we'll look at your team. We can tell you what we think of it. You don't have to agree with us. Maybe you won't. But usually, a lot of times, people come up with pretty good ideas and make pretty good moves. And right now, you don't want to do this and go into your rookie draft and not have a plan, because you're going to get a month after it and you're going to regret. You're going to be like, I probably should have done this better. And honestly, it's just getting a second opinion from us and saying, what you should do beforehand to make sure you crush your rookie drafts. It's a really important time of year. So the next tier of picks, this is multiple picks here.
Yeah, this is where the tiers start to really expand, so it gets a little more I guess abstract from the perspective of like, hey, we don't know these guys, we don't know these specific guys are actually going to rest in this range, but we have a pretty decent idea, I think, at this point, who has the chance to be in this range depending on what the buzz looks like and stuff. So the 103 to the 106 is going to be what we would consider a pretty significant tier of about 4 guys. And there's a lot of, especially this year in 2025, there's a lot of variation in what types of assets are going there. You've got a wide receiver or 2. Do I need to tell you? Tet and Burton, you've got a quarterback, a probably first overall quarterback in the NFL draft, Cam Ward, and then you have the 3rd best running back in this class. We personally believe that Travion Henderson will fall in this range. It could be Judkins. It could be Caleb Johnson. Heck, some of these guys that we already mentioned could be pushed down boards because multiple of those running backs that I just talked about could be considered in this tier. Regardless, as a rebuild, I think once you get into this range of the 103 to the 106, if you're not down tiering, you want to be targeting those foundational assets. As a rebuild, you're rebuilding because you have way too much volatility on your team. You don't have enough wide receiver and quarterback value. Cam Ward is going to be a really good pick in this range. He really is. And honestly, when we get to a point where Cam Ward is selected first overall, the odds of him being selected and being considered as early as the 103 in your rookie drafts is probably going to start being relatively common. No later than the 104. You'll see some drafts where he falls to the 105, 106, which again, that's totally okay because we're viewing that range in a tier. But Cam Ward at this point as a reload, if you're in this pick range, I'm totally okay with you going with selecting a guy like him there. And same with the wide receiver position. If you're at the 104, lots of talk about the 104. I just mentioned Cam Ward going as high as a 103. Guess who gets to fall to you at the 104 as a rebuild if Cam Ward is selected at the 103 just behind Ashton, Jency, and Hampton? Tet McMillan, who really is more likely than not expected to be selected in the top 15 picks of the NFL draft. It's a weaker wide receiver class. The analytics aren't as great for the wide receiver class as a whole compared to most seasons. Tet McMillan at the top is still a very, very good prospect in his own right and is absolutely deserving to be going in this range. Quarterback and wide receiver, I think, are your top targets here. 106. If you're picking at the 106 as a rebuild and Luther Burden is sitting there as a first-round wide receiver, I think you're hard-pressed not to select him there. Contenders. I think as a contender, this is like the cream of the affordable crop for really, really good running back prospects in this range. I already mentioned Henderson as a practical target for you guys. I mean, you guys ask for it all the time. We see it in the YouTube comments. Hey, I'm picking right here. Who should I take here? We always say best value, trying to give you names here. If Henderson is sitting right there at the 106 and you're expecting to contend in 2025, Henderson gets second round draft capital, goes to the Washington Commanders. You best believe you're selecting a Travion Henderson in this range. Running back is going to give you the most immediate production impact, or at least give you the best chance of immediate production impact as a contender compared to taking even someone like Tet, depending on what his landing spot is. Like, I know we've seen a lot of wide receivers in the last few years produce right out the gate as wide receivers. There's still a little bit of a transition period. There really is. I mean, the best of the best, Neighbors and BTJ, looked really, really good. They produce as wide receiver ones. There's also the Marvin Harrison Jr.'s who take a little bit of time. There's also the Rome Odunzes who take a little bit of time, the JSNs. Do you really want to take that shot as a contender who can get by with your current wide receiver core, since you're, considered to be a contender, or do you want to go with a running back who, historically, we've seen rookie running backs be productive right out the gate? So I think that range hopefully gives you a good idea, depending on what your outlook is and what your status is heading into 2025 of what rookies to select there.
The 107 through the 109 is not going to be much different. Really, I think you're going to see the high-end wide receivers get snagged up before the 106.
Tight ends come into it.
And so that's kind of where you pivot. Like, I think Cam Ward will go. I think the wide receivers will probably go. And then in this range, I don't anticipate there being like, hey, there's a wide receiver, let's take him here. I don't think there probably is going to be at this point. I think you're going to get the leftovers of whatever running backs get drafted either day 2 or maybe early day 3 that end up here. So like, Nathan mentioned Caleb Johnson, Quinshon Judkins, maybe they end up at the 107, 109. I know. How could we fathom Quinshon Judkins not going top 5? Y'all, I have a secret for you. We've done this long enough now. I do have something that I can pass on as a little bit of dynasty wisdom for you. Believe it or not, the actual dynasty rookie drafts don't usually play out exactly how they were going before the draft. Things typically change. But I mean, because of draft capital, because of situation, whatever.
So yeah, we're hesitant to put names to picks anyways.
Exactly. So it could be Judkins. It could be Caleb Johnson. It could be Travion Henderson. But then you start getting into the tight ends, right? And so, especially like 109, 110, I think you're going to see, Tyler Warren may go as high as the 107. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be scared to take him there if he gets the right landing spot in draft capital. Colson Loveland might be there, right? You could potentially be looking at a quarterback, but I think the quarterback's going to be more 109 to 112. The first round quarterbacks, if we get multiple other first round quarterbacks beside Cam Ward. But really, I mean, again, rebuilds, reloaders in this range, foundational assets here, right? And so this is going to be really QB wide receiver heavy. And so, you're looking at this and saying, well, hold on, Avery, you just said there might not be a ton of quarterbacks and wide receivers in this range. Exactly. So if you're a rebuild or a reload, what am I maybe telling you to do with your picks right now? I'm telling you that might not be the range to sit as a rebuild or a reload. And so if you have rebuilds with the 107, 108, and 111, I'm telling them to move a lot of their picks anyways. But this is the range where I'd probably be like, you know what? I think I would try to move out of this range. And so if you do have to stick and pick, again, you're taking the best value. It's pretty easy. We're going to do a whole video on the decision tree you should, have in front of you, and we'll get in front of you during your rookie drafts. But contenders, we're looking for situational production opportunity, and I think that's a gold mine for running backs in this range, right? And so this actually is a good spot for contenders to sit, the 107 through the 109. You saw a lot of players go here last year. Caveat, it's not last year's class. Totally understand that. But I think the 107 through the 109 a lot of times is where you get those under-the-radar guys that come in the right situations and produce from year one, can actually help bolster a contending team. You're not paying outrageous prices for them, but they could help. And so for a contender, you might be looking to make a trade with the rebuild and come get the 107 through 109, depending on how cheap you can get the pick. Until recently, we've seen these picks go very cheap. And so you've been able to jump into this range, and maybe you're going to get a starting tight end from day one in Tyler Warren that's perfect for a well-rounded team. Or it's perfect for a wide receiver factory team that has as their best tight end, Ben Sennett. Perfect. So it could be, an opportunity here. I'm higher on this range for contenders, lower on this range for rebuilds / reloads. And again, the targets, this is where it gets a little bit murkier, but we kind of gave you the leftover names from the 103, 106 range. I think you'll be targeting here. And then we get into the 110 through 203, and you'll have kind of now start solidifying some of those auxiliary positions, or what we consider auxiliary positions in quarterback and tight end, that you're probably going to see go here.
Yeah, another 6-pick tier here. It's one of the biggest reasons that we advocate for a lot of people on the back ends of the first round in their rookie drafts, just tearing down into the early second, because not only do we view it as the same tier, analytics views it as the same tier as well, historically speaking. We've talked about this plenty of times in plenty of videos. But, I mean, we haven't even touched on Igbokwe, Golden, Loveland. It's time to touch on those guys because they more likely than not are going to be going in this range if they get the draft capital that we expect. Even if Golden gets first-round draft capital, he's probably not going to be able to rise any further than the tier above 107 to 109. And then you've got Shedeur Sanders, who I haven't even talked about. Avery was just talking about the quarterbacks not being super great in the 107, 109 range. It's because Shedeur Sanders, who still may go potentially top 5, is not going to go in the 107, 109 range because he's kind of hated in the Dynasty community right now. If he goes anywhere in the first round, he should be going no later than the early second in your Dynasty fantasy football drafts. This is a range where as a rebuild or a reload and you have need for a quarterback, you go ahead and you take the shot on Shedeur Sanders if you want to be aggressive and call your shot with Jackson Dart being in this range as well. I don't have an issue with that either. You can expect that potentially since he's gotten a lot of buzz. I wouldn't be shocked at the end of the day if Jackson Dart was ranked higher than Shedeur Sanders if he got higher draft capital. Wide receivers, tight ends down tier. For rebuilds and reloads. Down tiering, if you're at the 110 as a rebuild and you want to down tier to the 203, totally okay with that. Cam Scatterbu, Travis Hunter, those types of guys. We know where Travis Hunter's going in the NFL draft. We don't know what he's going to look like as a wide receiver. You want to take the talent upside potential there. And as a contender, this is the range where there are, I mean, despite the talent upside and potential here in this range, what really are the chances that you're going to get a crazy production impact year one from a lot of these assets? As a contender, I'm not sure I'm super willing to take that risk. Once we get to the NFL draft, once we get to your rookie draft after the NFL draft, you're going to have a lot of interest in this 110 to 203 range. Mm-hmm. If you can go ahead and get a proven asset that you know is going to have a lot of production in 2025 barring injury, I would just go ahead as a contending team and I would just move that pick for a proven asset and get that proven asset at a discount really before they become more expensive during the season when there's a bidding war with all these teams that think they're contending early in the season and overpaying for all these point scores. So I think that's going to be the best move for you guys, for you contenders in this range.
In the mid-second, you're going to look at rebuilds and reloading teams for this next year. Taking those second-round wide receivers. We looked at the hit rates recently in a video of the second-round wide receivers, the guys going in the second round of Dynasty rookie drafts that are wide receivers. And you notice that that's actually a decent time to take wide receivers is in the second round. So you are going to be looking to take that really insulated value that comes with wide receivers. It really is the best position to invest in as a reload. Rebuild. It's going to give you the most flexibility, and when they hit huge. So definitely take advantage of that. And then also, again, look to down tier. In that mid-second, we'd like to get into the late second, or we'd like to get into the early second. And it could be advantageous, actually, to trade up on a rebuild, depending on what you're using to get up into the early second. A lot of times the price isn't outrageously high, and you might have a way better shot at a value hit if you get into the early second. But down tiering is also an option. You can get into the late second. You start stacking some thirds, and we've talked about the hit rates for third-round picks and how they are essentially lottery tickets with the hit rate of cornerstone assets in that tier. And so, it might be advantageous for you to start stacking third-round picks there as well. For contenders, really, we're going to be looking for mostly running backs here. Again, unless you're have a super heavy running back room as a contender, then you can take whoever. But if we're talking about inside of tiers and you have a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end available, I think we're probably primarily going to be looking for running backs in this range as they're going to give you the highest upside possible for your flex spots this coming year when you are going to be trying to win a Dynasty Fantasy Football Championship. And you've seen that play out in the last couple of years with some running backs that have gone in the second round. So for contenders, I think one of the most important things here is you don't reach on day 3 landing spots, right? Because the guys we're talking about here, from a running back standpoint especially, DJ Giddens, Dylan Sampsons, Damian Martinez, Devin Neal, right? Bashul Tutin. So those types of guys, a lot of times what ends up throwing one of those guys over the other is the fact that they went to Team X or Team Y. And really what we're going to caution is don't reach because of the landing spots. Reach with their analytics, reach with their skill set, reach with the fit, reach with the draft capital, right? Use those factors to evaluate who you're going to draft here and not other ones. But in terms of, rebuilds, reloads, Jackson Dart could be going here. And if he gets a second round draft capital, maybe he's not a bad pick here. Jaden Higgins, Alec Iomanner, right? Trey Harris, Jalen Royals, Jack Besh. Harold Fannin potentially even could be going here. Analytically, Harold Fannin looks great right now. He's being slept on a little bit. So,
this is a huge reason why we're advocating for a lot of people. If you're in the mid-second and not trading up into the early second, into that above tier, then just go into the late second, because any one of these guys could flip or jump anyone else in this tier that we just mentioned, and I'd be like, yeah, okay. I wouldn't be shocked once we got to the draft, once we got to your Dynasty rookie draft either. I think it's just a large sample of assets that are all, honestly, pretty high floor guys that you would expect are going to get pretty decent team investment at the NFL level. So,
and in terms of, those are for mid and late seconds. In terms of your thirds and fourths, we covered that. I'll try to link the video in here where if you want to go watch and see our third round, fourth round strategy, those aren't really going to move the needle. Obviously, you can package a bunch of fourths and get into the second, you do it, but it's just not really happening. And so that should give you a clearer idea, depending on really what your 3-year outlook is. What do you plan to do next year? And again, do you have the right idea of what you want to do next year? Because a lot of people don't. A lot of people go way too skinny with value and they go try to contend and they end up in a hard rebuild because of it. A lot of people think, oh man, do I need to rebuild again? Do I need to reload again? We're looking at their team. We're like, dude, you have a ton of value. Go spend it now and win. Like you're good. You're past the rebuild. And again, that's where we come in is helping you and giving you that second opinion. And so again, I've got it linked in the comments. You can get a rookie draft blueprint from us. You can get a team blueprint from us. You get it free with the annual Motherflocker tier. You can come join the community and be a part of the Discord and the community during our peak season where our Discord is the most active. Right now it's popping and we have a ton of people over there playing Dynasty. I think you would really find value in it, and you get all the tools on the side as well, our rookie draft guide, our entire rookie draft toolkit. So we'd love to have you come join the community. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. Let's see if we can hit 25K this month. It's going to be a big month, and we honestly hitting 25K would be pretty cool this month. So that's our goal. If you haven't subscribed but you are watching, we would really appreciate it. Helps support the channel, helps fund what we do. But appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.